lights down. Hand over my crown. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time, my time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of MGR Unplugged. David, I'm actually disappointed because I had planned originally to discuss or to talk about all the Super Bowl commercials like we kind of promised, but they all really sucked. I mean, I don't have any that I really think stood out for me as something really original. I think I saw, I think I mentioned one to you that I thought it was, the one with Matthew McConaughey, the flat. I
mean, that was like, fine. It was fine.
I haven't even heard that much about, normal TV shows highlighting which commercial was the best and the worst. It's like people didn't give a shit this time.
No.
Plus, they were all pretty bad, to be honest. I mean, I don't want to be politically correct, but I think they were too much on the correctness side. Like, oh, America beautiful, and let's all wait together, kumbaya, whatever. It's like, come on, let's just move on. But one kind of funny note, or not so funny for the person in place, but you remember one of the ones that we did comment about was the one with Bruce Springsteen and the Jeep commercial, which
I didn't even see it during the game. I saw it afterwards.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay,
I know.
Whatever.
I was surprised. I mean, I've been
I know a lot of people were making fun of it.
Yeah,
because it was like basically like, oh, I know the nation is in shambles, but you know what'll make you feel better? Buying a Jeep.
I know.
What the fuck?
No, but not only that. I mean,
that's always like my favorite thing too. Is like you have companies like Pepsi, which just all they do is sell dog shit, poison foods and drinks, and then they're like, we're trying to make America better.
Yeah.
And we donated to the American Heart Association. And I'm like, you know what would help Americans' hearts? Is if you stopped selling them your shit.
Less Frito-Lays and Doritos and shit. No, but the one with Bruce Springsteen, I mean, I am a fan of Bruce Springsteen. I always liked him a lot. And, his album Born in the USA and all that stuff. I mean, I played that one to death. And I had not seen him for a while, So when I saw the commercial, it's like, oh man, Bruce Springsteen looks pretty good. Still, I know he's getting old. And saw the Jeep commercial, and I was like, okay.
Also, I was going to say, I don't think most people under 30 know who Bruce Springsteen is.
Well, they know who he is. They probably don't know what he looks like.
Right. Like, I know who he is, but I would guess that most of my friends do not know who Bruce Springsteen is, and they couldn't name a song by Bruce Springsteen.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Born in the USA and War.
Oh, that's it.
What is it good for?
The only one I know is Born in the USA. That's it. That's the only fucking one I know. I don't know any of the
there
other
are many.
songs.
I mean, I bought this triple back in the day CD collection, and I played that one over and over. I still play it. I mean, there's some very good songs.
I'm telling you,
I'm on fire. That one is a great song. Even though I don't think that song lyrics will be very politically correct these days, like it's talking about little girl and I'm on fire and all that stuff. But anyways, the point is that you have Bruce Springsteen who looks completely different. His hair and all that stuff. I mean, I know he's gone through some health issues that we will not get into, but bottom line, it was a commercial, feel-good commercial, branding, all that stuff for Jeep.
And car company. And then he got a DUI like 2 days later.
Mr. Springsteen now gets arrested for a DUI, which makes Jeep withdraw all the commercials and the campaign after the Super Bowl. And it's like, how will you feel spending not just the at least 5.5 more? I think they spent more for
per
that.
30 seconds.
Per 30 seconds, and that was a pretty long.
I think it was like a minute at least.
I think it was a 60-second commercial. So Jeep definitely spent close to 11, 12 million just for the ad time, plus the production, because it was very well produced, going through all USA roads and all that stuff, and to pull the whole campaign. Talking about the spending all this money in a 30, 60-second spot, and then no payoff. I mean, right now your spokesperson or the person you selected gets a DUI. I mean, from all things that he could have gotten, that's the worst for a car company. So that's kind of ironic. And then the other one that surprised me.
Does anything sum up America more than basically and an old rocker getting paid a ton of money only to get a DUI 2 days later in his Jeep.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that is
I don't know
America.
if he was driving a Jeep.
I think that should be the slogan. If you're going to get a DUI, get it in a Jeep.
Land of the free, home of the brave. You can do that, and the day after get that. Now, the other one that really amazed me, that another company that was kind of, they had at least 2, maybe 3, I think, was WeatherTech. I think is the company that makes the basically floor mats.
Yeah,
and covers.
I'm pretty convinced that they are a money laundering scheme because I don't know how they spend so much money on advertising.
I know.
When, I mean, they sell like floor mats.
I know.
How much money is there in floor mats?
I was thinking the same thing because they've done the theme of using their factory workers, the real people, not actors, whatever, which is fine for their commercials, and everything is very America the Beautiful and all that. But I don't know how many floor mats you need to sell to make up for. I mean, that campaign probably was for them like minimum $20 million between production, advertising time, and they're everywhere. I mean, not just on Super Bowl commercials, which is the elite of the elite, but also they are in all magazines and print ads and everything. And I'm thinking, what is the? I mean, we're talking always like last week. We're talking about margins. How do they make up that? I mean, I don't know if anybody that has a WeatherTech floor mat for my friends, and I'm a car guy, okay? And I deal with cars and trucks and all that stuff. And yeah, they're beautiful, custom made, fitted and all that. But I don't know if anybody that has one of those. So, well, how do they make up the money?
Well, I think there are probably some Russian oligarchs and Chinese foreign investors involved. And that's the real business. That's how they make their money. And that the floor mats, it's like the most boring thing ever. It's a perfect cover. That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean,
this is satire. Please don't sue me, WeatherTech.
Yeah, no, but on a serious
note, you
make
make fine mats.
Well, you know, when we tell our clients and advertisers, you need to have a certain margin for certain types of advertising, and obviously for TV is specifically for a Super Bowl commercial is obviously all branding and everything else. So, but you know, when you're talking digital marketing and all the stuff, you say, okay, if you don't make like maybe 30-40% margin, then you know by the time you add your ad cost and this and that, you know, you need to kind of plan your campaign thoroughly and what you expect to get in return, whether it's branding or selling, conversions, and so forth. But when your product is that, and you spend so much money, when you do the actual numbers and you say how many of those mats, whatever they are, floor mats or bed mats or whatever, they need to sell with their cost to produce versus the profit margin they have to compensate for those ad costs, I just cannot do the math. So maybe they sell gazillion of them, but I haven't seen them.
The Russian oligarchs can't do the math either.
Yeah. All right. So that's it for our Super Bowl commercial summary. We'll turn the page and move on. So, no, but we're going to actually focus more on crypto since we have a crypto news segment that we skipped the last couple of weeks because we were talking about other topics. But there's been a lot of news actually in the last couple of weeks, specifically this week. You know, Elon Musk, which is it's funny because he tweeted saying, "I'm off Twitter." Like, yeah,
that lasted 2 days.
Yeah, or not even 2. I think it was 24 hours. But he put a I'm off Twitter for a while or something, and people, oh my God, Elon Musk is off Twitter, and it's like, you know, they like made the news just for that little tweet, one-liner, and then like a day after or 2 days later, he's talking about Dogecoin and Dogecoin.
Pronounce it correctly.
Well, I know some people say Dogecoin. Like
no, it's Doge is the pronunciation. Yes.
Okay, Dogecoin, and then also, you know, basically he said Tesla is buying $1.5 billion. It did buy $1.5 billion in Bitcoin. So that actually was pretty big news for a number of reasons. Obviously, it pumped Bitcoin quite a bit because when a major manufacturer like Tesla, which is now the largest in valuation from all of them, does that basically starts bringing the topic of are the rest of the car manufacturers going to do the same thing? Which
I don't know about the car manufacturers, but just other companies in general.
well, other companies, but like GM said, well, we don't have those plans in the near future, and obviously everybody's saying, oh, because they also said they're going to start taking Bitcoin as a payment for buying a Tesla. Yeah. So that tells you, okay, well, will GM follow suit or Ford do the same or any other company, and apparently nobody's kind of jumping on that bandwagon for now. But in the crypto news, that made a lot of news basically because it was also a little borderline with obviously Elon Musk. We know that he owns Bitcoin. And
do we know personally?
Well, I don't know, but I mean, I think
I'm sure he probably has some.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know how much, but
I'm sure he does. But I mean, he knows that when he says that, or when Tesla did that, he knows that Bitcoin is going to go higher. And then, well, Tesla's valuation already increased just because when they bought 1.5 billion, and then Bitcoin went from, I mean, it increased. It's 48,000 today. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think they said they estimated they bought the majority of it at 32,000.
Right.
So they already are up like 700 something million.
Exactly.
Like they basically said if they're actually up like whatever 750 million, that's more profit than they made last year selling cars.
Exactly. That's my point. But the funny thing is that there doesn't seem to be any foul play there because
there's no
obviously
foul play. Treasury management is a very important part of running a company, and this is actually, I actually think it's the most under-discussed thing. Like, for example, a company like Apple, I think they have horrible treasury management because now, in their case, they have so much money. I think they just don't know what to do with it. But it's like, I mean,
well, they should bring it back to the U.S. to begin with.
Apple with their how much cash do they have now? 400 billion, 300 billion,
300 something.
It's whatever, right? Some ridiculous amount of money. I mean, they really should have their own Apple fund with that money. I mean, they have so much money, and I understand. Obviously, some of that they want to use for their own business, but they have so much cash they don't know what to do with. They don't acquire companies. They don't really make any crazy investments. Their R&D, they spend on R&D, but not, I mean, how are you going to spend $300 billion on R&D? So,
well, it took them forever to even give a dividend to their shareholders.
They really barely have a small dividend.
Yeah.
The only thing they do with their money is they just buy back stock.
Yeah, which is another way to pump the stock.
Right. But I think treasury management is very important. And if you can make money basically just with the extra cash your company has, then you should do that. I mean, that's...
No, I understand. And obviously Tesla did decide to buy 1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin, like you said, at 33 or whatever, and now it's 48. So they knew, or they could anticipate that when they made the announcement, which was later, obviously, the Bitcoin will increase in value. So because they had that kind of power, so they did that, and they increased in value, and then now they are, they made like 750 million, whatever, on paper, it's fine, but they made it. And so did a bunch of people that own Bitcoin, including you and I. So, but it's funny because, this is not something that you can say, okay, it's like a pump and dump, or it's like insider trading, whatever. This is not even trading. It's not even a security. So people are saying, oh, the SEC will look into that, and I should look into that because they buy. There's nothing to look into.
There's nothing.
First of all, Bitcoin is not a security. So the security is an exchange.
In the disclosure too, I mean, they said
right, exactly.
They disclosed we bought Bitcoin, but they said we're also looking into buying gold,
right,
and buying other things too.
Any other commodities, right? They're basically putting their money to work, which is what the government is telling you to say. Okay, if you leave it in the bank, we're right now giving you 0 interest on your savings, which is killing anybody that is basically putting money in savings. I don't care if you buy CDs or whatever. So for the average company or person, so they're buying things that potentially have more projections or expectations of giving them a profit, so they decided to put it into Bitcoin, which at the same time they said we will start accepting Bitcoin for people that buy our vehicles. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And they're an influential company, and as a result of that, the Bitcoin value increased and they made money with that. But they could have taken a risk if something else happens and Bitcoin goes down. They could have taken the same risk on the downside. So there's nothing wrong with that. But anyways, aside from that, obviously, I know it's just not Bitcoin. I mean,
Well, it's actually it is a risk because as far as the gap accounting works, for basically Tesla in this case, when the value of Bitcoin goes up, they can't count that as earnings, for example,
Right.
If it's not realized, basically.
Right.
It'll show on the balance sheet, but it won't be like earnings.
Right.
But if Bitcoin goes down, they have to show that as a loss on the income statement. And that's what's kind of fucked up about gap accounting.
Yeah.
And so it's actually risky in the fact that if Bitcoin were to go down, then Tesla would have to mark that as an income loss, even though it's not an income loss. It's a basically investment loss.
Right, because they did spend the money buying it, obviously. Yeah.
Right. But basically on the upside, it doesn't count, but on the downside, it does.
But what's different between doing that and if they decide to buy stock on something else or anything else or gold or anything like that? They buy gold and gold goes down.
Yeah, no,
Same
it's kind
deal.
of the same thing.
Right. The gap accounting counts both ways.
And
I mean,
people
in
were
this case-
saying this is why we need the arguments around accounting is incredibly complex. A lot of people hate gap. Some people love gap. I don't want to get into that, but that's a case where I think that's the fact, like if you own an asset and the value of that asset goes down and then you have to mark it as lost earnings on an income statement, I think that's crazy.
But I thought the gap rules kept being adjusted. I mean, first of all, let's define it. That's an acronym. It's GAAP, which is I think is generally accepted
Accounting
procedures or practices.
Procedure. Yeah, I don't know exactly.
Right. So basically, it's generally accepted.
And I'm not
So-
an accountant. I'm not an expert.
And neither am I. But I mean, I've read a lot of articles about gap, pre-gap, non-gap, this, that. Basically, they have a number of practices or procedures that they say, okay, we're going to all kind of measure by the same measuring rate or measuring table, what accounting, for reporting numbers. But yeah, there's situations like this where you say, okay, we're buying something that is supposed to be a commodity or an asset or something, and then if it loses value, it's basically an income that we are actually losing on. If it gains value, then it's on paper, we haven't realized it, meaning we haven't sold the Bitcoin or whatever to cash on the profit. Therefore, there's nothing that we can demonstrate because today is high, tomorrow it could be low. Just talk about the GameStop people, just a couple of weeks ago. So, all right. So briefly on the Dogecoin? Dogecoin. That's another thing that has been kind of in the news the last
We
week.
can move on. People,
I know.
it's a joke, okay?
It was a joke. Exactly.
People
That's the
take
point.
things too seriously, okay? People don't understand. Its problem is you have all these suits who get on fucking TV who are a bunch of losers who don't understand anything. They've never had fun in their lives. And they just take everything so seriously.
But what is everything? We need to clarify.
Like when Elon is tweeting jokes about Dogecoin, he's joking. He's messing around.
But it's increased value, obviously.
Sure, people speculate on a million different things, okay?
Right.
I mean, you could listen. Nikolai stock at one point was worth like $30 billion when they didn't even have a prototype car.
That's true. That's true.
Okay,
Too. Yeah.
so anybody who talks shit about Dogecoin but then doesn't say anything about Nikolai can fuck off. Okay, the markets are so ridiculous right now. I don't want to hear it. You get all these stupid traditional finance people who act like they're all high and mighty. It's like, who cares? Okay, it's a joke. It's pure speculation. Nobody actually
the thing
thinks
is
that
that
Dogecoin is
it's
like
funny
a
because
currency of the future.
When they asked Elon Musk a while ago about Bitcoin, he says, no, I'm not investing because I'm very late to a party, basically saying, okay, Bitcoin is already too high for me to jump into it. He should have bought it when it was like, whatever, 1,000, 2,000, 3, 4, 5 years ago. And then, so that was the Dogecoin thing. Like he said, okay, this is not new. And I can, kind of jokingly saying, okay, this will become the next Bitcoin. So I'm now buying it when it's very low. And that's where it increased the value and all that stuff. But like it or not, I mean, it's now worth like $9 billion or something. So, I mean, it has a certain value now, but it's just making use out of nothing, because there's like hundreds of different cryptocurrencies out there, and this is just one of them. So, anyways, let's move on to another topic. Well, one of the things that I was kind of trying to figure out myself is, and I think it's when I talk to other friends that are kind of like, or people that I know that are interested in similar situations, is basically the transactions between, so we know you can transact money or transfer money in the blockchain very easily in the crypto bubble, in the crypto environment, not to use the bubble word. It's easy to transfer funds from one crypto to another within the blockchain. The challenges come when you're trying to do transactions that involve the fiat world, the normal currencies, dollars, euros, whatever, and crypto, especially when it comes to international transactions. Those are much more regulated. So, for example, if you have money in a different currency or in a different bank or in a different location, let's say that you have an office in another country, and then you want to move some of that money, convert it to crypto, you can't do that unless you stay within the country, basically. I'm talking between fiat currency and cryptocurrency. So you can use an exchange that belongs to the country, to the same country where your fiat currency is. Let's say that you're in Europe, let's say you're in France, and then you have an office in France that is generating income and revenue like every other company, and then you want to take some of that revenue that is in euro and convert it to any cryptocurrency, let's say Bitcoin. So you can do that. You use an exchange that is basically European or French, and then say, I want to convert some, 50,000 euro from these profits into, just like Tesla did, just buy Bitcoin and put it on there. But you can only do that if you have another office, for example, in the US, and say, I want to convert some of the 50,000 euro that I won there, put it into my exchange or use an American exchange to make that transaction. So that is correct, right? Basically, that's based on international regulations. They don't want the commingling or the exchange of funds between countries.
Yeah, for the most part. There's some exchanges that kind of go by their own rules, but then a lot of banks don't work with them.
Right.
They kind of first of all, there's no like final answer. It's constantly changing. Like the SEC just said something new today. Things are always changing, so there's no right answer. But yes, for the most part, you have to use, because they basically implemented KYC laws, so you have to verify your identity.
Right, KYC meaning know your
customer.
Know your customer, right.
So in the same way, when you open a bank account, you have to verify your identity with the bank. Now they want you to verify your identity if you open an exchange account.
Right, and they also so there's.
And so obviously,
as you said, when all this started, it was very new, and it was like free for all. You could have a crypto exchange, whatever, Coinbase, Binance, whatever, and then you could you connect any bank from any country to your exchange, you move funds and all that stuff. But then the country started saying, hey, wait a minute, this is like there's a limit of how much money you can move between countries and all that stuff for a bunch of reasons that we're not going to discuss now. But they said, we need to verify that you actually are a legit person, that you exist and where you live and all that stuff. And then, so they do that now. They have these KYC rules where they say, if you are doing this, you need to, like if you're in Europe and you're basically buying Bitcoin or anything, or transferring funds to a European exchange, they say, okay, but do you live in Europe? We don't want an American person to move funds to Europe if you basically live in the US. And that's the KYC part, where they say, who are you, where do you live, show us your ID, blah, 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 all that stuff. So as you said, I mean, there's exchanges that are still not complying with all those rules, but at the same time, there's banks that say, oh, we don't work with that exchange because, again, we need to follow the rules, So I think that's one clarification. I actually learned that not too long ago, because I actually, I have Binance. I use on my phone, all that stuff. And Binance.com used to be an exchange. But then apparently it was more based in Europe, which I didn't know. You download the app and then it's Binance.com. It's just an exchange.
No, it wasn't based in Europe. They're based out of the Cayman Islands.
Oh, the Cayman. Okay.
But basically when all the new laws got implemented, they had to change things. And so now they have Binance US, and I think Binance Europe and Binance Asia or whatever. I think that's how they do it now.
Yeah, well, Binance.com, which is what I originally used, they gave their users, after all these regulations changed, a deadline to say, hey, we noticed that you are in the US and you are not in Europe, because they still allow you to use British pounds and euros and all that stuff. So I'm assuming their primary location, even though they're maybe based in the Cayman Islands, was European exchanges. But they basically gave me the notice saying, hey, we noticed that you're logging in from the US, so you need to set up your account with Binance.us. And I was like, I thought it was actually like a scam or something, saying, wait a minute, I'm using your app. I've been using it all the time just to look at exchanges and stuff. And then it was true. I mean, basically they say, okay, we need to basically part ways.
They changed the laws. Yeah.
They changed the law. So it was clear that they said, okay, you are in the US, you need to use Binance.us, which is our sister company, whatever, based for US transactions. And then Binance.com apparently works with European, I'm not sure of the countries, but it definitely does anything that is related to euros and British pounds and all that stuff. So that's one thing that I think is, but you explained it to me very clearly. You said, okay, if you have Bitcoin and then you want to exchange from Bitcoin to Ethereum or this or anything which is at the level, at the crypto level, at the blockchain level, you can do it anywhere. You know, you can change all the stuff no matter where you are. But when you're trying to move fiat money or normal currency money to convert to blockchain, then you need to, there's some kind of firewalls that prevent you from where you do it, right? Okay. Any other comments on that, or?
No, I mean, it's just two different worlds, basically.
Right.
That's what I was explaining to you. I was like, yeah, because you were saying, oh, why is it so difficult? It's like, it's not difficult because of crypto. It's difficult because of all the regulations and the stupid shit that banks have, and they want you to fill out 1 million forms and use Swift for transfers and basically all the old world shit. But I was like, once you move the money into crypto, right? Like for example, I have Ethereum, and then I use with Ethereum, then I have access to all these different tokens. I can do all these different things. I can get DAI, which is a stable coin, and then with DAI, basically I can do 1 million different things. I can move my money into any of these high yield
savings or interest.
Yeah, basically high yield. I don't know how you would call it. They're kind of, there's different basically projects that they provide yield for different reasons. But like some of them trade based on like arbitrage between stable coins. So for example, like if for like DAI, right? If you need to peg DAI at $1. And then you have this balance between Ethereum and DAI, and you always need to make sure that you have that DAI is worth exactly $1.
Right.
And so, depending on the supply and demand, it could go off, like say, to 99 cents, 98 cents.
Right.
And so then basically they need to adjust it, and there's algorithms that literally trade on that arbitrage.
It's the same thing as
and and by doing that, they're able to provide you like 9% interest rate based on that, and so you could put your money there. You know, so there's all types of
right.
things
That's
you
what
can do.
Basically like the Swiss franc was pegged to $1 and all that stuff back in the days before they disassociated themselves about 2 or 3 years ago. But yeah, I understand that, and
then you can do. I mean, there's 1 million tokens that do 1 million different things, and this is just on Ethereum. And then obviously, if you're using Bitcoin, it's a whole different ecosystem. But yeah, once you move your money out of the old world, so to speak, into the new world, it's so much easier, you know, and it takes 2 seconds. The only problem these days is just that especially on Ethereum, I mean, because the network is so overloaded right now, the gas fees are insane.
the what fees?
The gas fees on Ethereum.
Gas fees.
Gas fees.
Yeah, fees, but what do you mean gas?
That's basically the transaction fee you pay.
Okay.
When you use Ethereum, that you basically pay.
Why are they so?
Because there's basically so much demand right now. that
So
the
like
gas fees are really high.
But you mean what do you mean gas? Is like electricity or power or something, or is it the?
Yeah, basically there's miners and they charge a fee for processing your transaction.
Right.
And like I did one the other day where I was so there's Ethereum domains now, and the gas fee for buying that Ethereum domain, I think I paid like $50 in a transaction fee.
Is gas an acronym or is gas as gas?
It's called gas, like basically like I don't know. That's just what they call it. But there's
Consumption fee or something.
it's the transaction fee. Basically, how it works is if I need a transaction to process, I put it out onto the Ethereum blockchain with a reward for the miners. And the miners will basically get through all these transactions based on the reward level. And that reward level is based on supply and demand. And
So it's like you're bidding on a certain.
and it fluctuates a lot. Like I checked this morning because I wanted to see. I paid a gas fee the other day. It was like $45 or $50. This morning it was $90. So any transaction you want to do on Ethereum right now, it's $90 per transaction. So in the case I was paying $5 for something, and it was a $45 transaction fee.
Wow.
So now it's
So who's getting the money? The miners?
the miners.
Just one or all of them, or where does that go?
Um,
It goes to a pool for the miners.
I
or
think
something?
in that case it goes to individual miners, but yeah, basically.
So it's not like who wants to make the transaction. Okay, I'll take it for $45. And I guess says, $45 is not my thing.
Yeah, I mean, this is all automated. It's not like they're doing
Right.
it manually. But yeah, it's supply and demand. And so when there's a ton of congestion on the network, like there was this morning, it went up to like $90 per transaction. Now, if you're doing like large transactions, okay, fine. But yeah, I mean, if you're doing a $20 transaction, right now it's a $90 fee. And this is one of the problems with Ethereum. This is why everybody's trying to do L2 and L3, which is basically the higher layers. And Bitcoin is very similar, right? Bitcoin has had these problems in the past. That's why but basically they came with Lightning Network to get over this. So you have L2, L3 solutions. Because basically, when you go on Ethereum directly, it's layer one. It's like the base protocol. And so there's only a limited amount of transactions that can be done on that protocol. And so this is why they're building layer 2, layer 3 stuff, so that you don't need to pay these types of fees.
But let me jump in for a second. When you say transactions, just to clarify, if I went to buy one Ether, I'm going to pay $90.
No, what do you mean buy one Ether? With what?
Like if I wanted, basically, I go to an exchange and I say...
Are you converting from fiat or?
From fiat, right?
No, that's not what it is. This is Ethereum transactions. So
Okay,
operating on the Ethereum network. So in this case, I'm literally spending my Ethereum to buy something.
Oh, okay. So you're within the Ethereum network using your Ethereum currency to buy something.
Yeah, I was buying a domain.
And you pay a $90 transaction fee, no matter how much or how little you buy. The fee is a fixed fee.
It was a $5.
So if
I was buying something for $5, the domain was $5, but the gas fee was $45.
So if your local grocery store decides to take Ethereum as a currency to pay for your groceries, you're paying $50 for groceries and $90 for the transaction fee.
You could, yeah.
Holy shit! Well, that defeats the purpose of using, these currencies as daily currencies, basically.
Well, that's the whole reason why you have all these projects that are building on top of it.
Right. And that also fluctuates. I mean, today will be 90, tomorrow could be 150, or the day after 20.
Yes.
I mean, it depends on.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's incredible. And that is specifically for Ethereum, or is also...
That's Ethereum. I mean, all blockchain, all proof of work systems have that kind of
drawback, or...
You could call it... I mean, it's designed because basically you want... The goal is not to have the world's transactions operate on Ethereum base layer, right? That's why you build on top of it. That's why you have Lightning Network for Bitcoin. That's why you have all these other tokens on top of it.
So the only one that has a layer 2 or whatever is Bitcoin with a Lightning Network, but no other...
Ethereum does too. It's just that right now there's no consensus, so to speak.
So would you say that they are kind of discouraging people from using Ethereum for Ethereum transactions? They say, okay, use it as,
For sure.
Like Tesla says, okay, we'll take Bitcoin. You want to buy a car or anything with Tesla, accessories, whatever.
Well, in the case of a Tesla, it wouldn't be that much, right? If you're buying a $40,000 car, $90 fee is not that much.
Right, but if you buy an accessory, whatever, you say you buy floor mats for a Tesla, WeatherTech, by the way, and they sell them for, 0.001 of a Bitcoin or whatever, you don't pay those fees in addition to the actual cost of the product, right? I mean, with Bitcoin, but if it was Ethereum, if you were buying something with, if Tesla says tomorrow, oh, we're also accepting Ethereum.
I don't know if
payment.
Tesla's going to use Lightning Network or if they're going to use Bitcoin-based protocol. If they're selling a car, they'll probably use Bitcoin-based protocol for $40,000 or $50,000 or $100,000, whatever car they're selling. Yeah, I think they probably wouldn't use Lightning Network. Lightning Network, the whole point of it is for
daily transactions.
You
get a coffee, whatever,
right.
Pay with Bitcoin.
The $100 fee is a lot on a coffee, but on a $100,000 car, you pay the $100 fee. In fact, that's less than any type
Well, I mean, just for perspective, I mean, credit card transactions
Right.
usually have a 3% fee.
Right,
It's a
exactly.
percentage fee. It's not a fixed fee. So, 3% of when you buy a coffee and you decide to pay with a credit card, normally the store absorbs the transaction
Right.
fee.
So if you
which in
buy
reality-
something for $1,000 on a credit card, you're paying that company or whoever's getting charging
the
you.
product.
They're paying a $30 fee, right?
Right.
So, but they whatever on $1,000, $30 isn't that much, right? And so if you're selling a $100,000 car and the fee is $100, but it's secure on base layer Bitcoin, you're like, okay, cool, I'll do that. I don't care.
Right.
But if it's $100 on a
Because it's a fixed fee, obviously it makes sense.
Right.
All right, so let me switch over. Another question I had is the Uniswap exchange, which is basically what you're talking about now, right now, as far as being able to.
It's one of the it's the largest basically swapping. I don't know what you want to call it. Basically, it allows you to swap between any type of ERC20 token, which is basically a token built on top of the Ethereum protocol. There's multiple of them, but Uniswap's the largest.
But that's just for Ethereum?
Yes.
So the Uniswap is Ethereum, but when you're talking about swapping, like crypto swap or anything like that, does that mean that you are basically swapping cryptos? Like you can say, okay, I'm going to exchange my Ethereum into Bitcoin or something?
No. This is on Uniswap is built on top of Ethereum.
It's just
so
Ethereum.
Remember, Ethereum, when I say L1, it's the base layer protocol. But then on top of that, you have tons of different tokens and projects that are being built for all types of things. Some are, like I said, that are trying to just earn interest for you. Some are built trying to... I mean, there's literally a million things. There's collectibles. There's now one of the big things is the NFTs.
I wanted to get that in a second.
So there's basically anything. So and Uniswap is just universal swap. Basically, it lets you swap between anything. So you start out with Ethereum, and then you can swap into whatever, some type of token, and then you can swap between that token and another token, and it's all swappable, basically.
Okay, so you just mentioned the NFT, which is the final topic that I wanted to go over today, and I know that NFT, because you told me, it stands for Non-Fungible Token. Non, I understand. Token, I understand. Fungible, I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, so it's very simple. So fungible means, so for example, a dollar bill, that is fungible, meaning that if I have a dollar bill and you have a dollar bill and we swap them, it makes no difference, basically.
Okay.
They're identical. There's no difference between $1 bill and another. An ounce of gold and another ounce of gold are totally swappable. In the token world, one Bitcoin and another Bitcoin, you swap them, it's the same. There's no difference, right? So that's fungible. Non-fungible basically means a unique token. So if I have a Picasso painting, if I have La Guernica, and then you have La Guernica, one of us has a fake, basically. And so...
It's pronounced Guernica.
No, whatever.
Guernica.
Right. So if we both supposedly have the same Picasso painting, one of ours is fake because it's non-fungible. Basically, it's a one of a kind unique. So non-fungible just means a unique token, one of a kind.
Okay.
And so,
So non-replicated or something, or non-duplicated, or
yeah, just basically that it's not
because I mean it's not swappable.
It's not a
you and I can
currency.
swap the two paintings. It's just that one obviously is real, the other one is not. So
yeah. Why would anybody do that?
no, I know, but non-fungible. Okay, I understand. It's like non-replicable.
I have a painting to sell you if that's what you want to do. Anyways, so basically it's just unique tokens assigned to a specific item. And it can be a digital item, it can be a physical item, it can be really anything. And so this is obviously huge for the art market. It's big in music.
Exactly. So give me examples or practical applications of NFT that are in use today, how people use it.
I mean, art, it looks like all of the like sports cards and collectibles are all going that way.
For example, but give me an example of how, how a transaction happens. So you see a piece of art.
For example, I bought my first NFT last week. And what it was is this guy, John Palmer, who's he's like a smart guy and he writes good essays. He wanted to find a way to kind of fund his essay writing in a unique way. He said, I could start a Substack or whatever, but I want to try doing something unique. So he said, instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an essay token. And so it's the first ever essay that's been basically tokenized. And he created an essay token.
When you say he created, how did he create that? Do you know?
Yeah, so there's different companies, not companies, but projects that are working on this. There's one called Zora, Z-O-R-A, and then the other large one is NFD, I think is what they're called. But Zora is the biggest right now, and that's the one he used. And Z-O-R-A, people can look it up. And they basically allow anybody to create NFTs. And so if you're an artist or whatever, you can basically create an NFT for your piece of art, and then people can then bid on it to buy the tokens. And you say, I'm going to issue 100 tokens of this.
So you create an NFT and you say, I want to issue 100 tokens, just like you issue shares of a company or whatever.
It's like
and
100 shares.
Right. So you issue 100 shares. In this case, they're called tokens for your work, whatever it is. Could be an essay, could be a painting, could be whatever you're selling.
Yeah.
And then you let people bid
Could be
on
a piece of music.
Exactly. Any type of work. And then you let people bid on it. Do you put on a starting bid, or people start bidding $1, or how does that work?
No, people just bid basically. I don't think there's restrictions.
So if you may not know the answer. So I mean, this is fairly new. But for example, you bought one. You told me for what, $9 or something, or what?
Yeah. So I bought 10 tokens of essay. I think there's 1,000 tokens.
Okay, so you bought 10, which is a 1%.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when I bought it, they were $9 per token. I think they're up to like 20 now. So I'm already making money. But basically, and I can show people.
So and
here.
how do you pay for that? With dollars?
With Ethereum.
Oh, with Ethereum. Mm-hmm. So
I use Uniswap.
Exactly, that's what we're going to get to. So there were 1,000 tokens that he issued, like 1,000 shares for his work. Mm-hmm. You bought 10, which is 1% of his value, and you bought it for the equivalent of $9. Yeah. So you pay with Ethereum, but at that point, it was $9 in the exchange.
That was the dollar value. You could also value in Ethereum. It was 0.00 whatever.
Right.
Ethereum.
No, I understand. But the point is that the dollar, obviously, $9 is $9 today and yesterday. But Ethereum today may be 1,700 and tomorrow could be 1,500. So
yeah, but the same with the essay token. The essay token goes up and down too.
It goes up and down with supply and demand of people buying it, or Ethereum value.
No, it goes up and down with people buying and selling the tokens.
Okay.
So it went up a bunch. It went up the day I bought it. It was $9 a token. The next day it was like 22, and then in this case, because it's not a massive thing, it was like it was like $11,000 or something was the value, and someone cashed out sold like $3,000 worth, and then the price of the token went down to like 16 a token or whatever. So but basically,
are they 1,000 already sold?
Yeah. So they're already sold.
Okay, so they already sold. So it's kind of like, I mean, Bitcoin is not sold yet, but so the 1,000 tokens are sold out.
Yeah, and 10% is held by the owner, the creator.
Right.
And then the other 90% is for the public.
Out of which you own 1%. So, and now people buy like you did, and then the value doubled. Some people cashed out to make their money. Some people are sticking there, and it's kind of, what is the finish line for this? How long? Is the essay published?
There's no answer. Yes, he did publish the essay.
And so at what point does this guy get his money?
He already made money. He basically, when he issued, it's like doing an IPO. Mm-hmm. He basically sold the tokens, right?
For what price? I mean, an IPO is based on a valuation.
Right. When he sold it, it's an auction. So basically, he sold 1,000 essay tokens, and then people could bid, and then basically he sold it.
Okay.
And now he still owns 10%, so he keeps 10% of whatever happens in the future. So with the tokens too, basically there's two things. You can own the tokens, but then there's also you can buy the whole thing. And so basically it's like owning shares, but also there's the main owner. And so someone can buy the whole thing for whatever, $11,000 or whatever it's worth in the future, and then they own the full rights to it, and they can publish it wherever and do it. So if someone bought it and then put it behind a paywall, they could do that too, right? Okay. And so, like for music, for example, if somebody basically came and just bought this piece of music,
your royalties or whatever,
right? Exactly.
Okay. So it looks to me that it's almost like a mix of, almost like a Kickstarter project, but you're basically
in this case, it's
tokens.
kind of like a patronage type thing.
Okay. All right. So people just give.
Yeah. So it's really simple. Like I don't know if the camera can pick this up, but let me turn my brightness up. But basically, how it works is I have this is an Ethereum wallet I use. It's called Rainbow Wallet. It's the best Ethereum wallet. I recommend it for people. If they want to use Uniswap and all that stuff. But basically, I have my Ethereum here, and I moved my Ethereum in, and I just moved a little bit of my Ethereum just because I wanted to mess around. And then what I do is you can basically go here, and this is just send any address, or you can go here, and you can swap, right? And then basically I click choose token, and then I have all these tokens. So the top ones are DAI, obviously Ethereum, and then you have all these tokens. But then, I mean, look at all these tokens. There's a million different tokens.
So those are from the people that are trying to fund. How do you find the people that are trying to fund their projects with tokens?
No, these are just like the top ones. So these are like the big ones. These are not NFTs. The NFT is separate. So the NFT...
How do you find out, right? What projects are NFTs?
See, right now we're talking about network fees. Right now it's $58.
So how do you find out about what NFTs are out there?
You can go like on Zora's website. Okay. And they have a ton of them.
So you basically decide, I believe in this guy. I'm going to buy X tokens, whatever.
Yeah. Here, I'll show you. Zora. And this is all super new, so they're still even kind of building out like the marketplace and everything.
Right. But the thing is,
okay. So this is Zora's website, and this is just a feed of all the stuff that's being uploaded, right? And so these are all just like random pieces of art or whatever, and then I can go and click on any of them, and I can place a bid to buy them. In this
are
case,
there any qualifications to be able to put a project there?
Right now, yeah, you have to apply.
So you apply with a project. It doesn't need to be art. It could be any collectible, like I said, anything that you have that you're building. And then if it's approved, then it's listed, and then people start just bidding on it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's interesting. That's definitely a interesting way to not only fund your projects, like like a Patreon, like a Kickstarter type thing, but on the crypto world, but also a way to basically earn revenue before you actually have it out there. Because this person didn't write the essay until later. He was just trying to get it funded. It's the same thing that if I decide to build something or you decide to do something and say, okay, I want people to buy it. And interesting. So you're doing well so far. Are you planning to cash out at some point, or?
In this case, I did it just because it's the first ever essay that was tokenized.
Is it good? Did you read it?
I haven't read it yet. He just released it. I'm gonna read it today.
Okay.
But yeah.
But when that essay, if it's not if sensitive or something, it'll lose value, right? I'm assuming.
Not necessarily.
If it's an essay,
I think it'll gain value just because in this case, because it's unique. It's the first ever essay.
Who has access to that essay?
Anybody. It's public.
It's public. So that's what I'm saying. That's why it loses value. If you read an article or a editorial or something, and then a month from today, nobody cares about that stuff.
We'll see. I think it'll go up in value.
Really?
Yeah.
If it's a novel or something, but an essay, I'm kind of hard thinking.
Again, because it's the first essay ever, I think it'll go up in value. I think it'll just be a novel thing to own.
I understand.
The ticker is literally essay. That's the name of the ticker. Like dollar essay.
All right. So one final question. You said that Ether.
So far, by the way, if anybody's wondering, the biggest transaction was somebody sold a painting for $800,000.
Famous or just?
Well, decently famous, yes.
The artist was decently famous.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you said that Ether, you can have some kind of domain name or something for all your transactions.
Yes.
What is the format? It was
ENS.
Okay.
What do you mean?
Like you said, you can have your own domain.
Yeah, it's .eth, ETH.
Like ETH. Okay.
Yeah. So whatever .eth.
And that's just for your transaction stuff. It's not like you're gonna get a website or something with that domain. It's not a GoDaddy domain. It's basically an Ether or Ethereum domain.
Yeah, but it works across all tokens, which is cool.
Right. So you can centralize all your transactions and all that stuff there. Okay. All right, man. Well, that's a lot of information to digest.
And I'm still learning too. I started learning about the NFTs probably last summer. I first heard about them. It was something I kind of like I found out about Zora last summer. And I kind of passively just was like, oh, this is interesting. And the last couple months, it's really picked up. It's become even the NBA now, they've already sold millions of dollars worth of NFTs themselves through their website. It's called NBA Top Shot, I think is what it's called. And they're selling NBA moments. Like the most expensive one so far was Kevin Durant's first shot that he made this year as a Brooklyn Net. I forget how much it sold for, but the NBA already made I forget how much, over $3 million or something selling NFTs.
So you sell that and then you own a piece. If I buy whatever number of tokens, I own a portion of that NBA first shot for KD in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Forever until I sell my shares.
Exactly.
Wow.
It's like, imagine if the famous, I wrote this because I wrote an article for us on our blog a few weeks ago about the NFTs. Imagine if, remember the Jordan dunk contest when you had the famous Jordan logo?
Right.
It's like, imagine if you owned that.
The Air Jordan.
What do you think the auction would be for that?
Yeah.
That's the type of thing we're talking about.
But when the NBA sells these, like in this
case, the NBA owns the rights to all that footage, right?
They own it. So KD basically gets nothing out of this. KD, all the NBA players.
I don't know how that works. I don't know. I'm sure if it becomes big, the players will say, "Hey, we want that money too."
Right.
Now, I'm not sure. I would guess it's part of the revenue sharing agreement that they have.
Right. The image rights for players are part of. The NBA has the rights, but like in the Jordan case, obviously Jordan.
But it's similar to sports cards.
Right.
I think it's the next evolution of sports cards. Mm-hmm. They're selling moments.
Yeah, but you can actually sell a bunch of things. You start selling things like that.
That's the thing. This is gonna open a whole new world, man.
Right.
I'm telling you.
You start monetizing special things, events, art, this, that you have, projects, whatever. I don't know, getting into tax implications, all that stuff, how this will be taxable income, all that stuff, but that'll be for the IRS to figure out. But it's definitely incredible how this digital domain is making everybody think in a different way. Like before, it was more like, okay, here's $2 for this, and that's it. That's fungible, like you said, or tangible. This is non-fungible, so the tokens and all that stuff. So first, it needs to be a little more understood mainstream, and then obviously, it needs to be a little more widespread. But I never actually heard of it until you told me. And you said the NBA. Obviously, I'm not a big NBA fan, but you said that NBA has been selling all that stuff, and I had no idea. But that means that they can sell any league, any professional league, soccer, whatever. They say, okay, this is Leo Messi's first time he wore a Barcelona shirt when he was 12, whatever, So, all right, man. To be continued, I'm sure. We'll be following your investment, see how that I say is doing. All right, well, that's it for today. Any parting comments, anything aside from the Suns buzzer beater or almost 1-point victory last night? You're happy with them, huh?
Yeah, they're doing well. Won
number 4 in the West.
7 out of 8 so far.
Yeah, they're 15-9 or something. 9. Yeah, they're doing actually much better than I thought. At number 4 in the West so far.
I don't know why. I like I said, Western Conference Finals. That's my prediction.
Well, I think that's not going to happen. But anyway, we'll see. All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening. Hopefully, this wasn't too technical. It was too technical for me, but I have a lot of time to research. But thanks, David, for clarifying a few of those things for us. And just follow us on YouTube. We put all these videos and then we put highlights too. So just find MGR Agency, MGR Unplugged. You'll find it on YouTube. And then anything else, just send us a note, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.